What's up, everybody? My name is OMGWTF, LFTW, Welcome back to more of the WWE vs. TEW series, the week of WWE vs. TEW. The series, of course, where we take the events that WWE books, run them in the game to see just how well WWE does against TEW, or, of course, if if Total Extreme Wrestling will be the one company that brings TEW down to its knees. WWE really can't bring itself down to its knees. I mean, then again, it totally can, and that was a completely idiotic statement. I mean, WCW practically brought themselves down to their knees. Although one could argue that AOL is the ultimate nail in the coffin there. But either way, I am bringing you guys the first episode of the Mae Young Classic Round 1, Part 1, main evented by Killer Kelly and Mako Satomura. Before we get started in this, I want to just make it clear, I'm not sure how well this is going to go. This might be the worst episode in the entire Mae Young Classic, because what I kind of want to do with this is to simulate the fact that they're like in Full Sail and they really got like more of the hardcore fans there. I was thinking I'd up their popularity to at least a 50% in the Southeast. That way everyone's on equal footing and it's all just rated on on skills at that moment. But I completely forgot to do it before I pressed the advanced segment because I got a little excited and want to make sure I could do NXT, which I was able to, but because of that I wasn't able to edit popularity or anything. So this might not be the best episode of the Mae Young Classic, but without further ado, let's see how well we do. To start it off, we have our recap of last year's Mae Young Classic, of course, highlighting the main event, or the finals, with Kairi Sane taking on and beating Shayna Baszler to win the Mae Young Classic. And then during this whole highlight of the kind of, hyping up the Mae Young Classic as well, Rhea Ripley and Tegan Nox got to say a couple of words here and there. Speaking of Tegan Nox, we have our first closer look segment as we get a closer look at our first matchup of the Mae Young Classic. Tegan Nox, better known as Nixon Newell on the independent scene, taking on Zatara, who I don't know if they're in this stave or not. I wasn't able to find them, so I went ahead and hired a lady named Crazy Star to play Zatara, so that's who's playing Zatara if you're curious. But that's not a good sign of things to come. Nonetheless, before we get to the opening match of the night, Ember Moon and Alexa Bliss both spotted in the crowd watching the action. And then we get to our first match of the Mae Young Classic, and ooh, boy is this a sign of things to come. Good God Almighty. This is why I gotta up the popularity, because look at that, 18 and a 10, really? An 18 and a 10? Just because, that's why I need to up popularity, but unfortunately, I can't at this moment, so we just have to wait until the next week's episode for to get better, but this is going to suffer because of it. So what do we got here? Is that a 16? Yeah, 16 F+. Ugh. 16 F+, in an abysmal matchup. Tegan Nox goes over Zatara in 8 minutes and a second with the shiniest wizard. That's what it's called. Okay, I wasn't misreading that. Hits her with the shiniest wizard. Apparently, Tegan Nox and Zatara have pretty good chemistry and it helped lift the match, so I can't imagine what this would have done if they didn't have good chemistry. Nonetheless, though, Nox with an in-ring performance of an 18, Zatara with a 10. No worker improvements. Oh boy, is this a sign of things to come. 26 solid E rating here as we get a closer look at our next matchup between Rhea Ripley and MJ Jenkins. Rhea Ripley, of course, our first repeat competitor from the previous season. Apparently, Tegan Nox was supposed to be in last year's, but she, I guess, hurt her knee or something like that, and it kept her out. Ripley, of course, showing a new side of her this time. She's a little bit more of an aggressive type, more of a badass. In fact, when I was watching this with my lady, I'm a big fan of Pete Dunne, so she thought it would be funny to mention to me how Rhea Ripley and Pete Dunne would make a great couple, apparently. So, if you agree, there you go. So does my lady. Alright, how do we do with this one? A little bit better than the opening match, but still 21 E- rating here. We have an abysmal matchup of Rhea Ripley going over MJ Jenkins. By the way, that's who she was fighting. That was a closer look at both her and MJ. Like I said, Rhea Ripley more of a badass this time around. Kind of like a rocker is what they're going with, I guess. MJ Jenkins, kind of like I want to say, kind of a soul, funky kind of gimmick here. Michael Jackson. What's the word I'm looking for? Jazzy, kind of. I don't know. Maybe not jazzy, but soul. I mean, just got a lot of soul. You know, she's like a soul sister and all that. If you've seen Austin Powers Gold member, she kind of reminds me of Foxy Cleopatra in that sense. I like MJ Jenkins. I thought she looked good here tonight. I hope she ends up earning herself a contract because I think she stands out, and that's something hard to do in the women's division nowadays because it just seems like all the girls have like the same gimmick, whether they're females or males. Or females or males? What? I meant to say heels or faces, but females and males is what came out of my mouth instead. Nonetheless, Ripley does go over MJ Jenkins in 8 minutes 23 seconds by pinfall. Apparently the announcing quality helped lift this match. I mean, Michael Cole and Renee Young are all on commentary, but so is Beth Phoenix, who apparently has a weak commentary. I might have to boost that up a little bit. She's really not the best color commentator, but I wouldn't say she has weak. Maybe I would. MJ Jenkins with an in-ring performance of an 18. Rhea Ripley with a 20. So these guys actually had a pretty good match if they were able to get a 21, outperforming both their in-ring performances. Rhea's improving her performance skills, and MJ Jenkins improving both her Rumble and performance skills. So good for both of them. We then get a closer look at our next matchup here. 26 solid E rating. A closer look at Vanessa Craven taking on Lacey Lane. Now, I'm just going to let you guys know, Lacey Lane does not have a picture in this save, so unless someone's going to give me a picture for Lacey Lane, she's not going to have a picture until that happens. Sorry, it's just how it is. That's how lazy I am. Leo Rush spotted in the crowd. Only makes me think that Leo Rush is dating either Vanessa Craven or Lacey Lane, and just by looking at Leo Rush, I'm going to assume it's Lacey Lane. I don't think Vanessa Craven's his type, but then again, look at me being the person that's judging over here. All right, we go into our next matchup in the Mae Young Classic. 19 E- rating here, and an abysmal match. Lacey Lane goes over Vanessa Craven in 5 minutes 44 seconds with pinfall. A lot of people were saying, or at least they tried to sell this as like the upset of the night. Vanessa Craven having a lot more experience over Lacey Lane, and of course, she is like towering pretty much. Like I think her nickname's like the Wall or something. She's a lot taller than Lacey Lane as well. But of course, I knew Lacey Lane was winning this. She's got a lot of hype going into this event, and she just got hired by WWE, so it just made sense to put her over here. 19 E- for the matchup, though. Lacey Lane with an in-ring performance of a 16. Vanessa Craven with a 24. Lane is making improvements, though, improving both her Rumble and performance skills. But yeah, but if anybody has a picture of Lacey Lane, Who87, if you've got a picture of Lacey Lane, let me know, so we can fix that. 30 E+ rating as Natalya is back. Apparently Ronda Rousey too, because I forgot Ronda Rousey was Natty's manager at this time, but whatever, who cares. Natty's backstage being interviewed by like the first ever Indian hired, I don't know, something like that. God wish this Indian like ring announcer, whatever you want to call her, interviewer backstage, she was horrible. She was absolutely horrible. Her lines are so phoned in. Like you can tell she's just reading off a script. She's like, and how would you feel, who do you think's going to win this tournament? Like it was just like, oh my god, you are bad. Like she was bad, guys. Without, nonetheless though, who cares about her? She's not in this game. There was no way I could feature her anyway. But Natalya goes on and picks pretty much Mia Yim and Io Shirai to be kind of like the favorites of this here. So there you have that. Okay, this was my mistake. It shouldn't have been with both these females on screen, but it really doesn't matter. Who cares? 14 F+ rating as we get a closer look at our final match of the night. The two competitors taking place in it. Oh boy, I might butcher this. Meiko Satomura, I believe that's how it's pronounced, and Killer Kelly. Meiko is kind of the legend of this year. I don't know if they had a legend last year's Mae Young Classic, but I know you had Brian Kendrick in the Cruiserweight Classic. You've had some veterans in the UK tournament. So Tajiri was also kind of a veteran in the Cruiserweight Classic. So there are, like, they always seem to have like a veteran competitor, and it looks like this time around you got Miko Satomura. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and then like Caitlyn as well. So you have some people in there who are getting their shot. And I guess last year's competitor would have been like Serena Deeb or something like that. Nonetheless, she is playing kind of like the legendary role, and it's interesting that they really kind of played up her time in WCW. I really got a good kick out of that. Definitely got a pop out of me. And then there's Killer Kelly, who... Does anybody else think Killer Kelly looks like the girl that from that Dr. Phil, Cash Me Outside, how about that? I don't know her name. But does anybody else think she kind of looks like her? That's what I kept thinking this entire time. But nonetheless, this gets a 14F+. Mako's legend gimmick got an above average on it. She had major problems due to the language barrier, though, which... Well, she was, she doesn't know how to speak English. It's not my fault. That's WWE's fault. Before we get to the matchup, though, we get a little crowd spot of Funaki and Ty Dillinger. Not sure why they're together, but there you have it. And then finally, it is main event time. The final match of the, I guess, part 1 of the Mae Young Classic here. And in the abysmal matchup, Mako Satomura goes over Killer Kelly in 9 minutes, 45 seconds. So... a little bit of a kind of an upset. I thought Killer Kelly might go a little bit further in here, but I am happy to see Mako Satomura get a little bit more of a push, being the legend that she is. I kind of want her to go at least to almost the semifinals. Like, if she loses in the round before semifinals, that's okay to me as well. But I feel like having her make it pretty far and then have her lose is just like, it gives that extra rub to whoever beats her. And it's usually what happens to the legends. Nonetheless, though, Killer Kelly getting better at her gimmick. The announcing quality helped lift the match. Color commentary helped it out. Did bring the crowd down, as every match has. Killer Kelly with an in-ring performance of a 14. Mako Satomura with a 20. And all in all, they got a 16 F+ for this matchup. Also, Satomura improving in her performance. So we end off the show. This most likely did, 24 solid E. It is a minor show, though, so it isn't going to affect us in the long run. And all in all... not a bad start. I mean, yeah, it is my bad because of the popularity and all that, but that's how it would have been either way if I would have just started it. So, all in all, the first episode of the Mae Young Classic, it's a success. I thought Satomura and Killer Kelly was probably the best match of the night. It was interesting. I thought Killer Kelly probably would have been playing more of a heel considering her name and her mannerisms, but she kind of played more of a face and played a respect game of, I'm the first Portuguese woman, and losing to a legend like Mako, it was an honor to her. She shook her hand and all that. The Vanessa Craven, Lacey Lane thing, definitely didn't look at it as an underdog beating, I definitely thought Lane was winning that match. The only match that really caught me off guard was Mako, because it's not that I didn't think she would have won. It was just more of I could see either one of these girls winning because Killer Kelly's got some hype behind her too. I didn't see Rhea Ripley losing. I didn't see Tegan Knox losing. I didn't see Lacey Lane losing. There's certain people in the first round where you're like, well, they're not losing just yet. It's once you get to the second round when you start seeing, okay, this is who's going to win this match. But with that being said, though, that is going to be the end of this episode. It is probably a little bit of a shorter episode because, well, there isn't much story going on, and it's relatively quick with just mostly matches besides story. So I will see you guys tomorrow when we continue on with the week of the WWE versus TEW, uploading another, 5 videos now? We got Raw, SmackDown, 205 Live, NXT, and Mae Young Classic, plus Hell in a Cell. I might actually upload Hell in a Cell separately and have that be by itself on one day, just because usually the pay-per-views tend to get more attention, and I don't want to have you guys miss it by me uploading a bunch, even though if I do think, now that I think about it, it would be the last one. The feedback from the viewers has been that the show was crap. That's funny. But, what do we got going on here? Before we end this off, let's check this out. Apparently, Akira Tozawa is now relocated to the New England area. But with that being said, I am going to go ahead and end this off and get these videos uploaded for you guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, please do me a favor. Comment, like, subscribe. Do it on all the videos. It helps out. Hit the notification bell because apparently, I guess YouTube is having some issues. I haven't really experienced many issues with it, but apparently they are. So if you want to make sure you see my content, go ahead and hit that bell. It'll let you know every time I upload. And as always, I want to give a big thank you to all those who have actually stayed to the end, have watched all these videos. I know it's kind of a hassle with a lot of videos. I mean, Raw and all that are pretty long in their own right, so I appreciate all your guys' viewership and time. So thank you guys again, and I will see you guys for the next week. Again, I would like to just apologize again for how far behind we've gotten, how I have to upload these in bulk, but it's really the only way I can catch up. So I hope you guys understand. So see you guys tomorrow.